No, that's not the case.
Come on, look back. Tell me what is it. Where did Krishna tell Uddhava to go?
Badrikashram.
Told him to go, huh?
Badrikashram.
He told him to go to Badrikashram. Is that right?
Himalaya actually to go and meet Maitreya.
No. He asked them to go to Narayana. Go and see Narayana.
Are you sure?
That's what I remember.
From where? Where did Krishna tell Uddhava to go?
Narayana.
Badrikashram.
Told him to go, huh?
Badrikashram.
He told him to go to Badrikashram. Is that right?
Himalaya actually to go and meet Maitreya.
No. He asked them to go to Narayana. Go and see Narayana.
Look at chapter. Are you sure? Text.
That's what I remember.
From where? Where did Krishna tell Uddhava to go?
Bank
or Saraswati.
Badrikashram.
Bank, yeah.
Told him to go,
huh?
Badrikashram.
He told him to go to Badrikashram. Is that right? So there he meets Uddhava, and immediately he starts to inquire about Krishna and the Pandavas.
Himalaya actually to go and meet Maitreya.
Many questions.
No. He asked them to go to Narayana. Go and see Narayana.
So look at chapter 1, text. Questions relating to Krishna. Uddhava actually goes into this ecstasy, transcendental ecstasy. Particularly, he's as this chapter's title is.
Question.
No, that is the question is different.
Remembrance of Lord.
Yeah, remembrance of Lord Krishna. So he's everything that Vidura has asked has given him so much things to think about Krishna. So there's a difference between the way Uddhava reacts as opposed to ordinary people like us, how we react. Reading Bhagavatam is not simply just knowing information. For us, particularly because we are following footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and so on, we need to reflect on our own practices sincerely, to see, do I have these feelings? If I don't have feelings for Krishna, but do I have feelings for devotees? Do I have feelings for my spiritual master? Do I have feelings for Srila Prabhupada? Like that. Do I remember the classes my spiritual master spoke on? Can I remember the parikram that I went on with my spiritual master? Right? So when we read all these things, you can see where a very highly elevated person is coming from. And for us, it's an opportunity to practice. So let's read text. Shri Sukha Vacha Iti Bhagavata Prishta Shatravartam Priyashrayam Prativaktum na chotseha Akantya Smariteshvaraha. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, when the great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidura to speak on the messages of the dearest Lord Krishna, Uddhava was unable to answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at the remembrance of the Lord. So for us, if somebody asks us, tell us about Krishna, we won't get any anxiety. right? We only think how much knowledge I know about Krishna. So we can see that it's a difference. The reaction is totally, and we can't imitate these things. So what you are finding in this slokas and so on, from particularly from 1 to 6, you see Uddhava's transcendental qualities. And this thing you cannot fake it, no? I mean, you can practice after reading all that, you know, but genuinely it doesn't work that way. The real feeling sometimes makes the person unable to do things also, unable to speak and so on. So here we see how Uddhava is not able to answer immediately. He's totally overwhelmed. This is a symptom of his pure qualities, pure devotional. Because of his pure devotion to Krishna, it comes up so much. You can see some of the qualities of a pure devotee. Text 2. Ya pancha hayano matra prata ashaya yachitaha annaicha rachayan yasya saparyam balalilaya. He was one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years, was so absorbed in the service of Lord Krishna that when he was called by his mother for morning breakfast, he did not wish to have it. It's another description of Uddhava, you know. Most of the children nowadays, you know, around this age, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they are absorbed in playing some games, some PS what, 4, 5, something, and then Xbox, right? They are all into all those things. You know, DS, Nintendo, Y, Wii, or whatever they call it. No, it's true. You observe that children are absorbed in playing some mundane thing. Yeah? As opposed to Uddhava, 5 years old, he was so absorbed. It's embarrassing to think about. You know, the reason why I say it's embarrassing is because we think we are very advanced. Our ahankar is very, you know, big. As big as this universe. Our ahankar is that big. And then we think, oh, we are so advanced. It's because in the beginning when we do devotion, we think we are very pure. Then after we got initiated, we think we are better than everybody. So, no, one have to reflect. We have to reflect on these things. Because it's our consciousness is not trained properly. We are going to keep this kind of thinking process. It's bad habits from previous lifetime or even in this own present lifetime. Bad habits. So then we think we are doers. Ahankara vidmatma, kartamiti manyate. So that forces us to think, oh wow, I'm so good. Now you see this person, 5 years old, was absorbed in Krishna. Quality. So someone who's a pure devotee cannot be faked. Cannot be faked. Their whole life is based on around Krishna, centered in Krishna. Even Srila Prabhupada, right, from a young age, you want to do Ratha Yatra, you wanted to have deity worship, all that. So you can't fake this. In the purport, Prabhupada writes very nicely, Uddhava was a natural devotee of Lord Krishna, or a Nitya Siddha. So he makes it very clear. Natural means he's not like us. We are all Nitya Baddhas, fools. From natural instinct, that means because he's a Nitya Baddha, his natural instinct, he used to serve Lord Krishna, even in his child. He used to play with dolls in the form of Krishna. He would serve the dolls by dressing, feeding, and worshipping them. And thus he was constantly observing the play of transcendental realization. He's already doing all this. Prabhupada did that. So you can compare and contrast devotional service between Uddhava, Srila Prabhupada, our acharyas. All have similar background. These are signs of eternally liberated soul. So these are signs of eternally, no faking. Generally, when they have this kind of inclination, they don't openly show to other people. They don't show off also. We like to show off. Little bit we do, we'll ask 10 people, how well I did. What do you think? Compare and contrast me with some great soul. So we want to be eternally liberated, which is good. The desire to be liberated is good. But we also should know where we are at. That's important. An eternally liberated soul is a devotee of Lord who never forgets Him. How much we forget, right? Right? When you are sleeping, we are forgetful. When we wake up, what's the first thing you do when you wake up? Yeah, you should offer obeisance to Guru and Acharya and the presiding deities. So this training will make you automatically think of the Lord. How many of you wake up and think of Bhagavatam and so on? Because you're not putting in the effort.
Think of checking my email.
Okay, he said more usually they wake up thinking of email, what mail, who sent. That is sad. It goes to show where our life is, It is sad. I can understand if you are in a deep situation of difficulty and you are expecting a mail, then I understand. But normal lifestyle, you shouldn't be thinking of it. So, then Prabhupada talks about the reason for having a human life. And then he says, one who's already advanced takes birth in very exalted families. And he quotes the Bhagavad Gita verse, Suchinam Shangatam Gehe Yoga Brasta Vijayate. Meaning, if the devotee didn't finish and he has to take birth again in this life, he gets the opportunity to take his birth in a family of a well-situated Brahmana or in a rich, well-to-do mercantile family. Now, why is that? Why are they given opportunity to take birth either in a Brahmana or a mercantile family, rich family?
Brahmana means by culture, by knowledge.
Brahmana means by culture, by knowledge,
you get opportunity to
by
do
practice to do
devotions.
continue devotions. And mercantile rich family,
He doesn't have to struggle for existence.
he doesn't have to struggle for existence. So the Lord makes sure you don't have to worry about needs, basic needs and stuff like that.
He will have opportunity to think higher.
Yeah, so the opportunity to do devotional service. When it affords itself, they will take it up quickly. Okay. Then Prabhupada in the next paragraph says the Pancharatriki formula for training persons in devotional service is temple worship. So as Prabhupada is saying this, he's our acharya, which means many of us should do deity worship. If you don't, then you're not really focusing or training yourself. I mean, if you are going out to preach and so on, that's a different way of worshipping the Lord. But in general, if you are a grihastha, it's a safeguard. You should do some deity worship. Okay. When then Prabhupada says, if you do temple worship, the neophytes get the opportunity to learn devotional service to the Lord. How is that? How do you get that? Now, come on, you are now in the Bhakti Vaibhav. You have to know. When you do deity worship, how does it give you an opportunity to learn devotional service?
Direct service to the Supreme Lord.
Direct service to the Supreme Lord? Well, okay, in some ways.
We learned
Makes
all
us
the
regulate.
principles.
Okay, makes you regulated. Good. What else?
We
You're doing now?
learned
Yes.
all the purification process.
You learn to be clean. Huh?
Waking up early.
Huh?
Getting up.
Regulation,
Regulation is there.
cleanliness,
Cleanliness.
and we learn to appreciate. We learn to see with awe and reverence that.
You learn to see the position of the Lord
With awe and reverence.
with awe and reverence.
Consciousness is impacted by touching.
Yes. Your consciousness get improved because you are very careful. Because you're dealing with the Supreme Personality of God. Now, if you don't have that kind of feeling and you're just doing, then you are just,
Dogs.
yeah, just dressing some mannequin or dolls like you're saying, yeah. So it's very important. Why we are doing this? Why Prabhupada gave us all this opportunity? So Prabhupada continues, Maharaj Parikshit also used to play with Krishna dolls in his childhood. In India, the children in good families are still given dolls of the Lord like Rama and Krishna or sometimes a demigod so that they may develop the aptitude of service to the Lord. So this is the other reason why you do deity worship. You cultivate a proper mood of service attitude. Because the more you understand you are just a servant, not only of the Lord, you will realize you are a servant of other devotees also. Not that because you are on the altar, you are the big Mahant. You are nobody. By whose grace you are there. That's how we should think. Grace of my spiritual master. What is that verse? No, the verse that tells you about Archana and worship. In the
Sri Vigraha.
yes, Sri Vigraha, Mandira Marjana.
Spiritual master engages all the disciples in
Yeah.
worship of deities.
You're not doing it because you are great. It's spiritual master who's great. He is engaging you in the service of the deities. So you have to develop this understanding. It has to happen. It has to happen. Otherwise, you will learn through the hard way. Either you learn directly through devotional practices, or you have to learn through Maya Shakti, which will just kick you every now and then. So the service attitude must be service not only to the deities, anything that is connected. Tadiya. What this Lord Shiva says? Tadiya. What? No.
I don't remember.
I missed.
He says worshipping
Yeah, deities is good, but worshipping the day peripherally connected to the,
connected
to the Lord is more
yeah.
superior.
The Bodhi
Your
Aradhanam Vishnu.
Aradhanam Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tadyanam. Look it up. You all know, but you all forget.
It's there in
Shama.
Chaitanya Charitamrita is there.
Huh?
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
I know it's there, but you all have to know also. At least. Yeah.
Aradhanam.
I think with Tadiya and Shiva they were
What is it? How do you spell it? T-I?
there. ADIY.
Yes. Of all worship, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Param. And then
Better than that, so there is a
No, there's continuing, right?
No, so better than Vishnu Aradhana is like devotees.
But what is the full verse? You don't have database?
No, but that is what is Prabhu for Mat Bhakta Puja Adhika. That is a different.
That is
like,
not-
isn't- That's about how the worship of the
This is coming
devotee of
from
the
the
Lord is
Lord.
written. The worship of
Yeah.
the Lord.
But this is Lord
This
Shiva.
one is different. This is about
This is
worship
from
of the
Padma Purana.
paraphernalia.
Yeah, anything that is connected to Krishna is like a paraphernalia.
Yes, so the
Yeah.
devotee could be considered.
Yes. Right? Krishna Anusilanam, right? So Krishna includes devotees also who
Yeah.
are connected to the Krishna. Anything that you use in the service of Krishna is also Krishna.
Yeah.
Vishnu Aradhana. Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyam.
Ah, Daryanam Samarchanam. You said that,
Yeah, but I
Arad-
wasn't very
but you
sure.
were not sure.
Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadyanam
Yeah, so
Samarchanam.
Daryanam means what?
Connected to the Lord.
Okay, what Prabhupada translates it as?
Rendering service to
Person
the
in relation
Vaishnavas.
with
Of
Lord.
persons.
My dear Devi, although the Vedas recommend worship at Vengas, the worship of Vishnu is topmost. However, above the worship of Lord Vishnu is the rendering of service
Service
to
to
Vaishnavas
Vaishnavas.
who are related to Vishnu.
Okay, so this attitude of service, the aptitude of service must develop. If you are not developing, then there is a problem in your practice of sadhana bhakti. Yeah, that's all.
I heard this when Lord Shiva was speaking this verse.
Who?
When Lord Shiva was speaking this verse, that of all worshipping Vishnu is superior. Then Devi was thinking, oh, I'm not worshipping Vishnu, I'm worshipping you.
Hmm.
Then he said the second part of it.
Tadyanam.
Don't worry, you're fine.
Nice. By the grace of the Lord, we were given. Now, who used the we? He's talking about himself. We were given the same opportunity by our parents, and the beginning of our life was based on this principle. He's so humble, you know.
Yeah.
He's not saying I'm so. You go through the entire Bhagavad Gita, he mentions about himself maybe once, twice, like that.
Yeah.
And here Bhagavatam maybe once or twice, because life he talked about in first canto. Now he says another point. Yeah, we were very humble, no?
Rather than the same verse only talks.
Thanks.
Shrimatam Sevyo.
Yeah.
The same verse only speaks. The same
Yes,
purport of the
yes,
verse.
same verse.
He talks about-
641 Bhagavad Gita.
talks about his spiritual master.
Yeah, and himself.
Text 3. Sakatam
So
sevaya
can I ask a
tasya.
question but it was related to the first verse,
Pardon?
not to the second.
Huh?
When the first verse, when you were talking about the first verse you were talking about Ahankar, is, you know, the primary points you are also mentioning and which I thought about is that Ahankar means one of the things which always comes to our mind is basically comparing ourselves with others. Like you're
Actually,
saying,
your
in
hunger
one
is
sense-
you're comparing yourself with Krishna. You're thinking you're better than Krishna. And that is the root of the problem.
and it manifests as
And
comparing.
yeah, it manifests in many ways. Yeah.
Original in Beatles.
Yeah.
So if when we practically when we see consciously or unconsciously comparing, which could result in criticizing
Hmm.
consciously or unconsciously, then that actually is ahankar.
Yeah.
But in so many ways we try to justify it to ourselves. Why I am comparing because it's required for this reason. Or why I am criticizing because of it. It's very commonly, I see it within myself also, or you know,
Yes.
that there is a justification which is there, which seems to be like, so
Okay, where is the justification to compare and criticize someone coming from?
Bodily concept.
Hmm?
Bodily concept.
It's not coming from a higher authority, right? Correct or not?
Yeah.
It's not coming from direct instruction from your guru or other personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So based on that, you know, it's your own feelings towards that situation. You know?
Generally, we have been given opportunity to serve, but we use that as an opportunity to
make others serve and control others. Basically, what he's saying is true, right? When you're told to serve, you see an opportunity to get other people to serve you. You have to be very careful in devotional life because if you do very nicely, right, all the regulative principles and so on, this there's an opportunity for Krishna gives you opportunity for many things as well. Also, it comes like a package deal.
Yeah.
So, you learn and you know things, and then the people are going to look up to you,
ultimately follow.
and then you will think, I am the one. So that's a danger. There's danger in that, right?
Yeah.
If someone always tells you, oh, you're so good, so wonderful, all this, first few times you'll be humble and say, no. Then you'll think, oh, he said I was so good.
Yeah.
And then after a few times, you'll think I am good.
First class.
But the thing is, though, a lot of times we try to justify. One of the justifications is that if I am pointing out to somebody, I'm trying to learn from from the mistake of that person. So that's why I'm trying to
Okay.
say.
You may
That's
say
one
like
of
that. The point again I ask you is, where is this coming from? For example, if you are a guru, then your job is to find and correct the disciple. That is the job of the guru. Not that the guru is only looking for form. No, the guru has to perfect the disciple. That's why he tells, no, why are you doing this? Get up, do that, and so on.
Prabhupada also gives very clearly in some purport that one should not give instruction to a person who is not his disciple.
Yeah, I mean, in the 5th canto, Rishabdev tells
But
us.
this is not exactly about. A lot of time we may not give an instruction, but we do not instruct another person, but we are comparing and
I know
criticizing.
from my experience, I mean, I cannot say it's everywhere, but at least I can say a lot of time in ISKCON, right, everybody you meet will give you instruction. Even the first Bhakta join will start giving instruction. Very few people will listen or accept, but mostly this is our problem. That's why even when we meet new people, we are ready to lunge out at them and instruct them. You have to do this, do that, do this, do that. But when they come to our movement, they only say these guys are always out to catch us and correct us. There's where's the friendship? Where's the affection? Right?
Yeah.
How many times do you see someone and say, have you taken prasadam? Do you want something? Instead, we are first say, I read this is what you should do this. Anyway, that's all based on ahankar. But like I said, not everywhere, but it is like that in general. And I've also heard from new people who have told me that also. Wherever you go, this is the first thing they do. They will start telling you what you should do, you shouldn't do, like that.
That's why the
Because that's how
necrophiles.
we are understanding the Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
What we should do and should not.
Because that's what you got when you joined the movement. And so it's Guru Parampara system.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
That is also there. And you're right, that's all you learned.
Yeah,
We just
I
learned
think
this
she's
is
trying
what
to
we
say
have
that
to
that's
do
what
and
we
this is
think
what we
is
don't.
Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
It's not about affection. that much.
It's not about
Most
the
of-
relationship with Krishna. It's about do's and don'ts.
Every individual is connected to Krishna, whether they are practicing like you or not. They are connected to Krishna. They have a particular rasa with Krishna. So if you cannot see that opportunity to have a relationship, then what are you doing? You're trying to manipulate them, which happens eventually. you start cultivating, and then when they are new, they want to learn, they are very nice to you, and you are nice to them. But then you are telling them, oh, you don't do this, do that, and pretty soon you become their father, mother, guru, everything.
Krishna.
And then taking up the position of Krishna.
And then when they learn little bit, then they start looking at us and they're like,
And they also learn bad habits from you,
no, and then
They
they,
do
when,
the same
they, when they see that
and they will do the same thing.
they're not following.
Or they will see you are telling me, but you are not doing all this thing. So that is hypocrisy, right? For example, many devotees, I won't say one or two, but it's a common thing. Many devotees, they watch a lot of movies at home. And then they watch all that, but when they go out somewhere, they will tell other people, you can't do this is wrong. It doesn't work like that. You have to do practice properly. The service attitude is very important. Okay, text 3. Sakatam sevaya tasya
kalena jalasamgata Krishno vartam pratibhunyuha
Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood, and in his old age, that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. It's a very strong point here, Anusmaram. You can only develop these qualities if you are doing it, practicing it
properly.
daily, sincerely and all that. But you have to do it daily. Just like yesterday in the Brahma Samhita, right? What did Krishna tell Brahma? What are the 4 things? Practice,
Practice is abhyas.
Pramana,
sadachar,
Sadachar, pramana,
behavior,
abhyas.
abhyas. You need to have those things. Has to be applied every time. Once you become a devotee, you know you have to do all this. Practice is in. The practice makes you perfect. That's a saying. Practice makes perfect. So this is perfection of that practice. From childhood he was doing. So now when the Lord is gone, he can remember the Lord. Continuously, Anusmaran. Following one after another. He remembers about the Lord. Not just one thing only. So then Prabhupada says, again he's, in different ways Prabhupada tries to make us understand, transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. He says, one must do devotional service. And he says, transcendental service is not mundane. It's an emphasis. Re-emphasize that we have to do devotional service. Daily we have to do. The service attitude of devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened. So that's another point. When we are doing devotional service, the attitude to do devotional service must increase. Yeah. Year by year, day by day, you should see that you're doing more, not slackening. Cannot slacken. Generally, when the guru is there, everybody full on, After guru goes, only sleep. No Mangala Arati, nothing, right? That means actually there's lack of taste. No, this is good to know because then you know where you are at and then you try to do something about it. It's good to know where you need to improve. Yeah. Okay, so I don't like to get up morning. So what should I do? What to do? Huh? Get up, but how?
See some examples.
Yeah, you're sleeping. How to see? What do you do?
Serve devotees who have these qualities.
Pray to the Lord and continue sleeping.
we serve the devotees who have those qualities.
Serve the devotees who have that quality, that's good.
Try to become regular.
Try to
See
become
where it's
regular,
missing.
go to bed early. Right? Okay, you can't get up at 4 o'clock. So you try to get up at least 5 o'clock. So you target. Okay, so try 5 o'clock. After you're comfortable with 5 o'clock, you go 4:30, then finally 4 o'clock. But the target must be realistic also. It's not like, okay, from tomorrow onwards I'll get up 3:30. It doesn't work like that. Maybe one day you do, 2 days, you do, that's it. Third day you pack.
I can see that with people.
Yeah, so you need to practice. If you identify yourself, which is good, then you know where you need to fix. Own your problem, then you can fix. So never became slackened. The emphasis Prabhupada want to point out also is that because he was always practicing it, this is the reason behind this. Transcendental activities will only make you better. So when he is older, which is now, he's much older, the attitude of service never changed. In fact, it's very strong. And so Prabhupada said, gradually increases. That means it becomes so strong. Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, there's no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the process of age. In the transcendental service, there's no satiation and therefore there's no retirement. I've come across devotees who have said this, that they have done the service, now they retire. Yeah. They said because they have no taste for it and they are waiting for someone to. Basically, this is with deity worship. Deity worship will demand, the lords will demand a lot when you do deity worship. Because they are trying to purify you.
What does that mean? Demand a lot?
That means they will expect so many. Sometimes you say you volunteer for one service. Then the very next day someone call, so and so is sick, can you come? Then you'll think, okay. But every week more and more things come for deities, then you'll think, I don't want to do it. You know, how I can get out of this. But you're not thinking, oh, the Lord is so much attracted for my service, I'm so fortunate. You're not thinking like that. You think all, so I have heard devotees who say, no, Prabhu, I've done enough. I've done already. Now I'm retiring from this service. So you can see, Prabhupada says, no, attitude should increase more and more. And then the next paragraph, Prabhupada says, Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old.
Maharaj is talking about
Oh,
this retirement and how the devotees are older, they're always still very happy and alive.
yeah, so you can see in 10, 20 years, 30 years where you are, how much service you're going to do. You should get worried if you are doing less. Man, why is Krishna taking away the service? Am I not doing something right? You know. So this is how Uddhava is remembering. Because he was doing a constant service, it is easy to remember. Same thing, if you do service, it's easy to remember. Easy to remember many things. Like the gopis, right? They're always serving Krishna, so they know everything about Krishna. And when they are working, you know, they're always thinking about Krishna, they're talking about Krishna. So here you see Vidura's question made Uddhava forget about his own bodily needs also. He's old and he's not thinking like, I'm old, man, I'm so tired. I've been wandering for so long. He's not thinking like that. Text 4. Sa muhurtam bhuttusnim.
Krishna Krishna,
No, you should supposed to follow me, right? Why you are? Sa muhurtam abhutusnim
Samurtam abhutushni
Krishnangri sudaya brisham
Krishnagri sudaya brisham
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Tivrena bhakti yogena
Nimagna sadhu nirvritaha.
Nimagna sadhu nirvritaha.
For a moment he remained dead silent, and his body did not move. He became absorbed in the nectar, remembering the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy, and he appeared to be going increasingly deeper into that ecstasy. So again, another quality of a pure devotee. Now, in this particular way, it says Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. There's another verse we chanted.
Yajita Purusha Param.
What is it? Akama Sarvaka Tivrena Bhakti Yajite Purusha. Magna Sadhana. Tivrena, very strong, focused. Tivrena Bhakti Yogi. For devotional service, we must be focused like that. If it's not focused, if you can't focus on Krishna, you must focus on Maya. You have to. Because we are Tatastha. We have no choice. Our tendency is either this or that. There's no on the border. It's not like we can hang in the Viraj River. No such. No border. Either here or there. Can't say I'm not attracted to Maya. I'm not attracted to Krishna. I can't say that.
Maharaj also mentioned that they were going forward in devotional service.
Yeah. This is Prabhupada says many times. There's only two things we do. In ordinary mundane life, we can say we are on the fence. But in real spiritual connection with Krishna, either you are spiritual, otherwise your conscious is material. So it's very important to understand. So this here you see a symptom of a very highly elevated pure devotee. Very highly elevated. He became absorbed without himself thinking about it. It's automatically his mind is going anusmara. Like that. Just going like that. It's like a young boy is in love with a young girl. Even in class, when the teacher is teaching, his mind will be thinking about his girl. Like that. Or the girl will be thinking about the boy. Just like that. It will be just flying like that. Anusmara. Yeah, it is also like that. Remembering how nice she is or what she is doing. Or newly married couples are like that. The husband will be thinking, what my beloved wife will be cooking at home, so nice, or like that. It's like automatically
Married or newly
newly married. Huh?
Not even married.
Newly married.
Newly married.
Very rarely when they are married for too long. That may be in a different place. That's why. Kulako binna sarvango Munchan mila drishasutaha Purnarto lakshitastena Sneha prasara samplutaha. It was so observed by Vidura that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus, Vidura could understand that Uddhava had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord. Sneha is another term for pure love here, is Sneha. And in Prema, there's like 9 levels of degrees of loving. So
One of them is
yeah. It's a nectar devotion.
How is the last one?
Yeah.
That's not
Symptoms, proper writes, the symptoms of the highest order of devotional life were observed by Vidura, an experienced devotee of the Lord. So, you can also see symptoms in someone else if you are experienced devotee of Lord. Meaning what? That means you know all the symptoms, characteristics. That means you must know your nectar of devotion properly. It's all there in the nectar of devotion. Why is this keep going on?
Can you give me that silver thing? You need to reset it. Destroy it.
Yeah, so when you have studied nectar devotion for your Bhakti Shastri, it doesn't mean that you yeah, but swaha. All swaha, right? Oh, Om Tat Sat. Right? But we all do swaha now. No, actually, we only did how many chapters? 19 chapters. There's more. You should read. What happened?
Just reset it.
So, after how many?
Apple products also required. Control or delete.
Well, everything in the material world
Very
is.
alert to make that point immediately as soon as you got it.
So attached to immediate.
He's good on, he's doing his prescribed duty.
Okay, so to be an experienced devotee, you must be willing to do service at all times. Willing to do service. Be very well read in our Acharya's books. His mood, Acharya's mood is important. So, why is important? So that we won't allow people who will cheat. They will be, it's always going to be. These things are all repeated over and over again. People will cheat. Come and cheat. Huh? Yeah, this is Kali Yuga, you're right. So they will come to cheat. And then by doing and reading, you should come to the point of also humility also. That's the other thing. If you're an experienced devotee, you will take a humble position. You never want to be the main person. You just accept, yeah, okay, I'm a servant after all. And because he knew all this information, he could immediately understand Uddhava was not faking it. Right? So what was the other pastime that this person knew the other person wasn't faking? Who?
Close associate of Krishna.
Lord Chaitanya.
Lord Chaitanya and who? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Right? So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fainted, in which temple?
Jagannath Puri.
Jagannath Puri. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya?
Even though he is Mayavati, he knew all that.
Exactly.
He knew the symptoms.
Yes, even though he was Mayavi, he knew the symptoms. So he tested
He knew
him
the
up.
scripture well.
So yeah, so you can understand. It doesn't mean you're Mayavadi, you don't know the scripture. He knew his scripture. He knew these symptoms are available for one who is in love of God. Alright. And then Prabhupada says these bodily changes are manifested from the spiritual plane. You can't artificially do that by practice. Even then, Prabhupada says that there are people who do this artificial. Then I grew up where these ladies and men would display all these things. And there's singing or glorifying. Generally, the demigod worshippers will do that. All of a sudden, they will, the ladies would stick out the tongue and they say that they are Kali or Devi or something like that. It's so strange, but
Village folks.
no, even in modern cities, there are people doing it.
Even now it's happening. And then they tell you your future and everything. On one particular day, the review went up.
Yeah.
Everyone will go to the temple on that day.
And then the very next moment, they'll act like there's nothing
Yeah,
happened.
suddenly they
And then they'll go and take tea or smoke some BD and something. So it's like that.
A lot of times people who are giving discourse, they exhibit all this.
So
and
you
then
should
afterward they do mundane activities.
try to, read this symptoms as devotees. Srila Prabhupada wants us to know all these things. That's why he has written in the
First chapter.
Nectar of Devotion
So in the first chapter,
all the
second
different
chapter.
symptoms of. That's later after 19th chapter. He talks about all the deeper aspects of in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yeah. The Prabhupada actually writes in the second paragraph. Okay, after 19th chapter, you see transcendental mellows, qualities of Krishna. So you need to know qualities of Krishna. Qualities of Krishna further explained, further traits of Krishna, devotees
Symptoms
of
of
Krishna.
ecstatic love.
Yeah, symptoms of ecstatic love, existential ecstatic. All this what I mean, how you can remember all that? How will you remember these things?
Yawning. Yawning, rolling on the ground. Why yawning actually? Yawning is
It is so simple. But then you can fake it. But but the point is, you can't fake everything. So, but how do you remember everything? All these things.
by reading Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah, well, not just Chaitanya, by reading them every day.
Regular.
Regularly.
Abhyasa.
Just like how do you memorize? Because you're reading it repeatedly or regularly, because you need it for a test, you do it in a very short time. So similarly, if you want to know many things about Krishna, every day you have to read. Every opportunity you have to read and think about it. Then you know different things, prema, got all the different, raga, anuraga, different levels, up to Mahabhava, yeah, like that.
nothing is just.
Anyway, the 5 principal rasas and then the 7 secondary, all that you need to know also. No? Text 6. Shanake Bhagavan Lokan Lokam Punaragata Vimrijya Netrividuram Prityahodava Utsmayam. The great devotee Uddhava soon came back from the abode of the Lord to the human plane, and wiping his eyes, he awakened his reminiscence of the past and spoke to Vidura in a pleasing mood. So again, here also, Nirlokam Punaragataha. He came back to the Naraloka. That means he actually was, yes, he's transcendental. When one is in transcendental level, you're not actually here. The body may appear to be here, but actually you are with the Lord all the time. So Prabhupada writes, when Uddhava was fully absorbed in the transient ecstasy of Lord of God, love of God, he actually forgot all about the external world. The pure devotee lives constantly in the abode of the Supreme Lord, even in the present body, which apparently belongs to this world. The pure devotee is not exactly on the bodily plane, since he is absorbed in the transcendental thought of the Supreme. When Uddhava wanted to speak to Vidura, he came down from the abode of the Lord, Dwaraka, to the material plane of human beings. Even though a pure devotee is present on this mortal planet, he is here in relation to the Lord for engagement in transcendental loving service and not for any material cause. So Prabhupada At the same time, he slaps us and says, you're not here to do nonsense. You're supposed to re-establish your transcendental relationship. Not for material things. So we also have to be very careful. Okay, so we are not of this world, but we are here now. The only way to go out is devotional service, and it's now been given to us by acharyas and so on, right? And the point now is what to do, how much to do, what am I doing?
Just application.
What?
The difference is too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, then you know you have to do something. But if you don't want to think about it, then yeah, you can live your life the way you want to live your life. What is the worst case scenario is you have to take birth in a lower species. Everyone thinking I come back here. No, that's the worst case scenario. Lower species or amoeba, or even worse, if you're atheists and all, you take birth in a stone, rock, or mud somewhere, Huh? Yeah, in the bottom of Garbhodaka Ocean or something like that. Or why you want to go there? Yeah, so Prabhupada also talks about taste, in devotional service also. Cultivating this. It's important to cultivate properly. How do you get taste? Yeah, you have to associate properly. We are more fortunate than 50 years ago or something like that, right? Because Prabhupada now has made it everywhere, every city you go almost there is devotees there. But how are we going to use this association for benefit is important, right? Sometimes we don't think, maybe you have a good association here. You don't think, you think I'll go somewhere, like a cow, right? Correct or not? Right? Why cow?
Grass is green.
Yeah, grass is green on the other side. So we don't know how to take full advantage of the association here. Like a cow, we want to go on the other side of the fence and say, oh, it's better.
Actually, once we go 25 miles away from this place, then we know that there is nobody. Only when we come back, then we know there is somebody.
Yeah, but we take each other for granted too much. And then we suffer the consequences after that. The thing is, devotional service, when you are cultivating, you cannot see. You have to see the other person as how to say it, someone who is special. Yeah, you have to learn to do that.
That is the reality.
If you don't, you will create problems to one another. You will see mundane things. You will start judging one another and so on. And that's half the problem is there already. So yeah, our opportunity, right, is so wonderful because we have devotional life. Otherwise, we are suffering. So many people out there doing what they can do. Do we want to be like that? Or do we want to be like Uddhava, who is completely absorbed? He's going to the abode of Krishna and coming back. And where is the abode he is going? Dwaraka. So Prabhupada also indicates to us he is an eternal resident of Dwaraka.
Dwaraka.
Yeah, so taste must be developed also, and the taste shouldn't be lost.
So, to a question, once you develop the spiritual taste, what is the question of losing it again? It's like,
Oh, you know, taste is of the levels of taste, right? If your, if your taste for Krishna is only a little bit,
It's not compartmental. It's overlapping.
right? And then the next day, for example, you like Krishna. Why is it you cannot completely give your life to Krishna?
you have other lower tastes which are taking precedence.
Not lower days. For you, those are higher days.
For me, yeah, those, but from the other side, I'm
Yeah, because we don't have, we haven't developed the real taste. What has happened now is, it's like materially we like all these things and this. Now when Krishna pushes himself through the devotee, it's a new taste, it's attractive, but we haven't really developed, we haven't refined ourselves to taste it fully. So the attraction is there because it's Krishna. But we are more attracted to his material energy at the moment. If you have little taste, as you say, then you will want more of it. And more and more. Right? Of course, you have some taste, otherwise you won't be chanting and so on. But it's very minimum taste. You know? So it's a challenge. It's a challenge because, you know, we have so many things. For example, if you ask an ordinary person, they will give you many wonderful reasons why they cannot do what. No, it's true. And some of these reasons are very, you have to agree from their point of view. You will say yes. And if you bring that consciousness into Krishna consciousness, or in practicing Krishna consciousness, you bring those kind of things, then you're actually not fully trying to take up Krishna consciousness. Now, what does Krishna say about doing devotional service in such situation? Say, that means
Always remember Krishna by doing,
what?
by doing prescribed duties.
Yeah, but how? Means?
First we remember him, then
Yes, it means what?
Do it as an offering to connect.
Yes, connected to
Yukta
Krishna.
Vairagya.
Everything you do as an offering to Krishna, you're connected to Krishna. That's the only way you can become more and more Krishna conscious. Bad habits are not going to be given up instantly, unless, of course, you know, you're on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and then Arjuna kills you, you go back to God. Hey, that's a different issue altogether. But when you have bad habits, it's like that, you know, unless Krishna comes and chops something and then you give up bad habits. It's very hard to give up, so you need to constantly be on the virgin. I have to focus myself on Krishna. I cannot keep focusing on the bad things or attracted to material things. Right? Like, you know, when the Guru is here, everybody will work so hard. Super hard, you know. They'll fall over in front of Guru to clean and walk and do. You're laughing. Exactly. Everybody is doing like that. But as soon as he goes only, like I said, right, some people will sleep. Some people will say, oh, I need a break, and they watch movie. Go and is that Blockbuster? I heard they are closing down. Huh?
that's good.
Good, actually it's good.
Yeah,
But anyway,
online everything. Google Play and everything.
so yeah, nowadays they go online and watch all this. It's true. That's how. That means you don't have taste actually. Maybe we do service to Guru out of
Fear.
fear
Impress
or to impress others. Okay, ego, for inflating one's ego. That's technology. That's how Maya comes in. You are focusing on Krishna and suddenly she'll come and it's like that. My Guru Maharaj tells this story all the time. He said once in a train, he was sitting with Prabhupada and going. And then at one stop, some family members came and he said they had children, and then the husband was very skinny and looking bad. So then he thought he can let them sit one or two and then he will sit. So he got up to give them the speech. And as soon as he gave up, he said his wife, she was huge, big lady. She came, pushed everyone, and she said. And then Prabhupada looked up at my Guru Maharaj and said, "You give 1 inch to Maya, she'll take the whole." It is like that. And you will see in your own lives when you are Krishna conscious and when you are not. If you are sincere, you will see that you don't want to be Krishna conscious sometimes and you want to be Krishna conscious.
There's a saying in Tamil also.
What?
இருக்க இடம் கொடுத்தா படுக்க இடம். You ask him to stay. If you little space for him to stand, then next he wants place to sleep.
Sleep. Yeah.
Huh? If you just show finger, people will consume your thumb.
Or they say we give an inch, they'll take a foot. Yeah. Text 7. Uddhava Vacha Krishna Dyumani Nimloche Girneshwaja Garenaha Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam Gatashishu Griheshwaham. So now you will see, Uddhava is going to talk about all the things he remembers about Krishna. His remembrance, it's not like one thing. One after another will come in his mind. For example, if I were to ask you, okay, write, I'll give you 3 hours, write all the different pastimes of Krishna you can remember. How many can you remember? In detail. Right? Think about it, That's why abhyasa, you need to constantly practice. You need to constantly read. If you don't read about Krishna, how do you know who Krishna is? Sri Uddhava said, "My dear Vidura, the sun of the world, Lord Krishna, has set, and our house has now been swallowed by the great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare?" So poetic, huh? Krishna, he says, the sun and he's set, and at the same time, the snake of time has swallowed. Amazing. Very poetic. What can I say to you about our welfare? He's feeling separation from Krishna. Prabhupada says the disappearance of Krishna's son may be explained as follows, according to the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Vidura was struck with great sorrow when he got the hint of the annihilation of the great Yadu dynasty as well as of his own family, the Kuru dynasty. Uddhava could understand the grief of Vidura, and therefore he first of all wanted to sympathize with him by saying that after the sunset everyone is in darkness. So he said everyone is missing Krishna, everyone is suffering. Since the entire world was merged in the darkness of grief, neither Vidura nor Uddhava nor anyone else could be happy, which is a fact. Krishna is no more there, how can anyone be happy? Uddhava was as much aggrieved as Vidura, and there was nothing further to be said about their welfare. They're both experiencing
Separation.
separation. Basically, Krishna is not gone actually. Remember, Maharaj was speaking also. His pastimes continue from one universe to another. Just like the sun is rising in the horizon, right? Everywhere it's arising in the horizon. Every moment is in a horizon is arising. So the pastime of Krishna is always going on.
Also, it continues as an aprakrita.
Yeah, but later on we'll come to that. Yeah, basically if we can't see the pastimes because it's manifested somewhere else. And in Vrindavan the pastimes are going on eternally and we can't see because it's aprakrita. Prakrita pastimes was when he personally does it in front of us. So Prabhupada writes in the third paragraph, he says, as soon as one pastime is finished here, it is manifested in another universe. And thus his Nitya Leela, or eternal pastimes, are going on without ending. As the sunrise takes place once in 24 hours, similarly the pastime of Lord Krishna takes place in an universe once in a daytime of Brahma. The account of which is given in the Bhagavad Gita as 4 billion, 4,300,000,000 solar years. But
4.3 billion.
But wherever the Lord is present, all his different pastimes described in the revealed scriptures take place at regular intervals. So it's always going. Even in the spiritual world, in Goloka, the pastimes all taking place. If you read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when Gopakumar goes there and he becomes part of the family of, I think, Radharani, he goes out with Krishna. So the pastimes, different demons come and attack, and Krishna just defeats them and they go back. And then after this pastime, all the pastime continue until who comes to take him? Akrura to Mathura. So then they all lament, and then after that he wakes up one day and the same pastime starts again. And it's not like they feel, oh, I've done this. No. Everything is ever fresh. Continuous. Go on again, and then again he said everything comes up to Akrura taking and they lament in separation. And then afterwards they wake up and they start the different leelas again. It's amazing though if you think about it. So then Prabhupada writes in the last paragraph, as at sunset, the snakes become powerful, thieves are encouraged, ghosts become active, the lotus becomes disfigured, and the Chakravaki laments. So, with the disappearance of Lord Krishna, the atheists feel enlivened and the devotees become sorry. Yeah. Chakravaki is another term for a crane. Yeah, bird, the crane. Yeah. So, the Chakravaki laments means?
Christ.
Huh?
Christ.
Why? When its mate dies, it laments. It will not. It will die lamenting. It will not take another mate. Not like nowadays people marry 10 times. Yes.
It's like the Ramayana. That first verse in Ramayana, that's why I think it's Chakravaki bird.
It says that.
Yeah. Yes.
Female crane.
Anyway, dies when the mate dies, it will lament. It will not look for another mate, and so it laments a lot.
Yeah, I had a question there.
Yeah.
So lotus, why is Prabhupada saying that it becomes disfigured?
When the
Because
sun,
lotus normally blooms at night, right? In the morning.
that's a different one.
It's something.
That's a different lotus. Generally, lotus is
Lotus only
folds.
comes as the sun rises, the lotus also opens. As the sun sets, the lotus
Lotus
closes. That's how lotus are.
But the lotus which blooms in the moonlight,
In the moonlight.
That's a different lotus.
That's not the lotus, normal lotus. Generally, lotus will open with the sun. I've seen it myself. As the sun rises, they open. And the sun sets, they close. And after a few days, they wither away. That's how they are.
So here, what is the relation? Is there a relation between the sunset and the Chakravaki bird? Or it's just,
Pardon?
is there a relation between the sunset and the Chakravaki bird? Because that's how I understood the statement, but maybe not.
Yeah, just like the sun is setting. When the sun sets, Krishna is, in this case, Krishna is gone. So the devotee laments. But then thieves and everyone, they rejoice. That's it's an analogy. Like
No, in terms of the Chakravaki bird. Because the Chakravaki bird.
no, it is relating to a devotee. The Chakravaki bird is like a devotee who's in separation of Krishna. Right? So then, anyway, now we see how the people, the consciousness of devotees is in Dwaraka and in Vrindavan and so on. Srila Prabhupada talks about them in the purports text 8. Durbago bataloko yam yadavo nitaramapi
Yadavonutarapi
samvashanto na vidur
ye samvashanto na vidur
harimina ivodupam.
harimina yodupam.
This universe with all its planets is most unfortunate. And even more unfortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty, because they could not identify Lord Hari as the personality of Godhead any more than the fish could identify the moon. So Buddha is lamenting. In the middle of the last few lines of the first paragraph, Prabhupada writes, Uddhava lamented his own fortune also because although he knew Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could not properly use the opportunity to render devotional service to the Lord. He regretted everyone's misfortune, including his own. The pure devotee Lord thinks himself most unfortunate. That is due to excessive love for the Lord and is one of the transcendental perceptions of viraha, the suffering of separation. Okay. The devotees of Yadu dynasty, they saw him as just another person.
So, Prabhu, when they're welcoming the Lord in Dwarka, like when we read in the first chapter, then like it seems like the devotee, what is that mood? They know but they don't know, or they don't know
There is some
fully,
awe,
Huh?
some awe and reverence.
but they don't know fully.
There is some
What do you mean fully? Fully means, or fully in all reverence is Vaikuntha, no? So there is some like Vaikuntha feelings in Dwaraka.
some Vaishwarya.
Yeah.
No, in the sense of like, so at their, when the Lord is entering Dwarka, they are like welcoming him as the supreme Lord, or are they welcoming him just as a king, or what? Like, because over here it is saying that they were not able to recognize him. Because when we read that whole, it's very, I mean, it's very like,
Yeah, because they saw him as one of their family members.
so that's why they
Yeah.
welcome him. Not as the Lord is entering.
Yeah, he is lamenting in a different way now. He's saying he was a supreme Lord. We didn't even associate or think of him in that way. We were thinking of him as just another person like us.
That is
So
spiritual
Prabhupada is
power.
telling this is due to excessive love.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not lamenting that they missed an
They're all
opportunity. He's
eternal
telling,
associates.
he's thinking that they missed an opportunity out
Yeah,
of excessive love.
No, that's what she wants to know, why it's like that. Because they're all seeing him as a family member. You know? And Uddhava is now missing him so much. And in that missing, he's giving different reasons. And one reason he's saying is because we didn't know he was Supreme Lord and we missed the opportunity to serve him. Like,
But this is all due to excessive.
but yeah, but it's because of his it's like you can say separation, vipralamba. Or here Prabhupada says viraha. And then there's another thing because Prabhupada says that the moon comes from the milk ocean. And then he says there are people who will not believe that. Where is such thing as milk ocean? The reason is they have no experience of it.
Experience only salty.
So we only know what salty ocean is, or a freshwater lake. That's about all. So he's giving that reason. So because of that, they will not accept there's such a thing as that. But then he says there are people who are sick, right?
Amazing example.
So they are, so then according to Ayurvedic medicine, the cow's urine is good for their liver. So they may not have experience of drinking the milk because their liver is a problem, but they know that they've heard that a cow can give milk. So in the same way, he said people should accept that there can be a milk ocean.
Amazing example.
So how can they accept? Prabhupada says they can accept from the scriptures, authority scriptures. Something, huh?
Yeah.
You said your...
Did you update it, Prabhu?
No, yesterday...
He knows. He knows the
they
trick.
update and they actually mess things up.
Maybe
Like this,
that one may...
what kind of calves we get? Yeah,
And then the other example Prabhupada gives is from the ocean of milk, the moon was born. But the fish in the milk ocean could not recognize that the moon was not another fish and was different from them. The fish took the moon to be one of them and maybe something illuminating, but nothing more. The unfortunate persons who do not recognize Lord Krishna are like such fish.
So that's how we also take each other.
Yeah, they take him to be one of them, although little extraordinary in opulence, strength, etc. The Bhagavad Gita confirms such foolish persons to be most unfortunate. Avajananti Mahamudda Mahansutta. Yeah, you're right. We take one another for granted. But actually, everyone is special. We have to see that. Then accordingly, we have to relate to. So in this case, Krishna is so amazing and unique, and he exhibited so much opulence. Still, they didn't accept him. They were saying he's just some mystic yogi or something. I think I'll stop here. Alright, because my throat is hurting. So. Anything?
What is the
It's pain. Any questions? Comments?
How can we practice this thing? I was thinking about the point of thinking, looking at everyone as special, as a practical thing. How can we try to implement it? I think as you were saying, because and I feel that the half of the problem is solved.
If you serve someone,
if we just do this one thing. Right?
if you serve someone, then they are special. That's why from the beginning you can see that service mood is important. Well, that's what makes it hard. No? So if we don't want to serve somebody, or we can't get along with somebody, what do we do?
Backbite them.
Huh?
Backbite.
Backbite them. Okay, if you can't backbite them, what do you do?
Don't talk to them.
Don't talk to them. And if you can't stand them, even if you don't talk to them,
You find fault.
Find faults.
you find faults, and then
You don't do service for them with them.
you don't do service for them, for them,
Whatever they are
with
doing,
them,
you try
whatever
to-
they do, you avoid. And finally, what do you do?
Whatever they try to do,
You
you
offend.
try to make sure that whatever they are doing fails.
Fails. That's true. That's whatever they do, you try to find fault or make them fail. Yeah. What else do you do? If you can't do any of these things, what do you do? You can't hurt them. You can't do any of it. What do you do finally?
You're tough. So.
Criticism.
Some people
Criticism.
pray. I heard like some people actually they one of the people will, I pray that this person something like this happens.
Okay, you pray something bad happened to them. Okay, even if it did that, nothing happened. What do you do?
You give up.
You give up, and then
You should serve them.
you don't serve, but you should. So then there are people who come to this, they will pack and leave. But Prabhupada says, wherever you go, your forehead goes with you. It means your problem is with you. If you pray bad for somebody, that means you have a problem already. That means you are asura actually. Yeah, it is.
This is what I heard from one devotee. He said, let's say you have some kind of lumps and all this kind of things formed on your face, and you look at the mirror. So it's horrible. And you can't find fault with the mirror that it is showing this. So that's what he said. If you find fault with others, that person is acting just like as a mirror. You are honeycombed with the same set of things. And you can't find fault with the mirror. You can't complain, criticize the mirror that it's showing it. Actually, it is with you.
Well, if you are like the queen in in the Sleeping Beauty, she didn't like the mirror. Yeah. Anyway, we can't do
Snow
that.
White.
Snow White.
What is that song? Mirror, mirror, show me the.
No, I don't know the song. I think she used to say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them
Yeah,
all?" The
that one
mirror
only.
used to say Snow White, and then the queen could not talk.
Basically, it's us. We cannot tolerate someone is better than us.
You know the song? Yeah.
Well, when I grew up, I heard this story.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah,
was
Snow
taught
White.
this
Snow
story.
White.
That
Yeah,
itself
we are
is
not
not
able to.
Huh?
This
that
comparison
itself
thing
is
is
not tolerate Krishna
School, and then I had
being
books.
better than us, so we came here. That is reflecting all over.
Yeah.
this
Snow White.
comparison thing is very.
Snow
I don't
White,
know, I
Sleeping
feel
Beauty,
personally,
Cinderella.
my own self.
Until like
It's like comparison.
Compare,
Comparing
I watched that.
is a
There was some movie, right? Sleeping
just
Beauty.
so
Animation
default
movie.
built in.
But then I
Kids.
didn't know.
Like very
Even after
deeply
coming to
within comparing.
spent time
And
with
when
them.
I
No,
realize
it's
that
because you
people
probably grew up in China,
compare
know that
sometimes, then it's so peaceful and so
Yeah,
nice.
I
things
always
were
think
there.
that.
But
Yeah.
the
At that time itself.
I had books.
tendency
I
to
had everything
compare
going on.
is coming. And whether I
I
look
thought
myself
nowadays it's
high or
there.
low,
I've seen nowadays
even
it's
I
there.
might look
Sleeping
myself as
Beauty
low.
is there, but I didn't know.
So
Krishna
that
is
that
there.
also is just beating myself up on this, which is a negative thing. It's just
we will compare because it's part of our makeup.
yeah.
Yeah, it's there probably in the Supreme Lord. So that's why we are comparing, but we have to do it correctly. And when the gopis do, they are competing to please Krishna. Oh, she did this, that. I will do this for Krishna. They're not saying I will do better than her. They're thinking I will do more for Krishna. That's how they are comparing. So the same way you want to compare, so you'll say, oh, he did that nice for Guru Maharaj, so let me see what I can do nice. Or you can say, I can't do better than him, so let me do for him. Help him do it successfully. So at least I'll get some benefit. But that's the hardest. Because we all want to be the number one. But there's only one. Krishna is the only number one. They're all zero. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. But you have to work in an environment where you can develop the qualities. Where the devotees are affectionate, where you can also cultivate those qualities. Right? If you cannot cultivate that qualities, how can you give that to other people?
It's words.
Uh-huh.
All kinds of words can be spoken.
Yeah. So therefore, no matter how much you preach, you can only bring those people up to the same as you are. So if you think you're good and great, then they are also good and great. But if you understand that you're not that great, then you won't be attached to the results. One of the things is, you bring someone to Krishna consciousness, you don't hold them as your property. You tell them, look, I've given you this, you just go and, give to other people. And if you take the humble position, they will respect you. Right? But if you take a proud position, then they may respect you for some reason, but you never have a true relationship. You cannot develop real relationship if you are very proud. And let's say you have a big position, people will relate to you because you have a position, not because you are a nice guy. All these are not qualities that we want. How's your jet lag?
It is kicking in.
It kicks in now, it's not so bad. Right. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. If I don't feel good, then I'll send an email. Stop.